welcome to this edition of Joy in Our Town. I am your host, Ann Farrell-Tata, and I am delighted to welcome today to the program two of our Chesapeake's finest from the police department. We have Detective Beveridge and Officer Franceschi from the Chesapeake Police Department, and today we are talking about observing suspicious activity and safety tips, and we're going to talk about some neighborhood watch programs. So welcome to the program. Thank you for being here today. And Officer Franceschi, I'm going to start with you. This time of year, it's getting dark earlier, and you know, people are out and about. How can we be more aware of our surroundings in our neighborhood to be safe?
Well, one of the things we have to remember is that anything could happen anywhere at any time. So whether you are home or whether you are in the shopping mall, some of the things that you have to look for example, will be people hanging out in corners, people looking at you for long periods of time, trying to figure out what are you doing. So on vehicle also, cars that are parked in certain areas, not so much with the headlights on, because people who have normally the headlights on, you'll see that they're probably
cars that are not supposed to be, a strange car in the neighborhood. I mean, all those. So when that happens, like what would you say qualifies suspicious activity?
Well, certainly something that doesn't look normal to you. Normally, especially in your neighborhood, you know what your neighborhood looks like.
Right.
For the most part, you know the people that live there, or at least nearby. But when you see something that is out of the ordinary, someone go into someone's house, ringing the bell, and instead of moving on to the next house, they go to the backyard. That's not normal.
Yes.
Especially if they're ringing the bell, they have no business at that residence. So that is something that I would consider definitely suspicious.
Now, when that happens and you do see something, you know, you don't want to jump to the gun or anything, but who would you call? Who do you notify?
Well, that depends on the circumstance. Mm-hmm. Something like that is someone, for example, the example I just used, if someone comes to your front door and then it goes to the backyard, I would definitely call 911. To me, that qualifies as an emergency. Although you are not seeing an actual crime happening right then and there, but it could turn into a crime because the person at this moment is going to the backyard, you don't know who they are. So that definitely would qualify for something that in your mind could be an emergency. So 911 would be an appropriate number to call. If it's just something like, for example, just someone just keeps pacing back and forth on the corner, down the street, you're not sure about that person, then you can call the non-emergency number for your local city. And
so each city has its own local non-emergency number?
That is correct.
And
yes.
So for somebody, if they lived in Portsmouth or Virginia Beach, would they just Google the non-emergency phone number?
They can Google it, certainly, and they can go into the city website, and they will have all the departments and all the phone numbers for all the cities.
So each city has its own police website and police phone numbers?
That's correct.
You know, that just reminds me, recently when they had those 4 prisoners escape from that jail in Oklahoma, and it was I think it was a neighborhood person that saw them running down the street in orange suits, and you know, it was around Halloween time, so they thought it could be just they were dressed up. But
absolutely,
those are the kind of things, I guess, that it takes the neighbors that are paying attention.
Absolutely.
So what are some safety tips that you can share with us, for us, especially when we're out with our children and, you know, women by ourselves? How can you help us be safe? What things should we do?
Well, one of the things is you have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to know what's going on around you. You know, whether there's something that you smell, something that you hear, something that you see. All those things are indicators of that things are happening around you. So it's very important to stay aware, to be aware of the type of change in the environment. One of the things that we do recommend, if you go shopping, and you're coming out to the parking lot with the shopping bags, make sure you take your keys out of the purse and out of your pocket before you get to the car. That way they're ready for you to open the vehicle. And then once you put, one thing you want to do, if you have a baby with you or a small child, have the child get in the car first. and then take care of the merchandise. The merchandise can always be replaced.
Right.
Your child can't be replaced.
That's a
So-
great tip.
So make sure you put these things on your purse. You take your purse and put it inside the car. Do not leave it on the shopping cart,
Yeah.
because there are people out there looking for that kind of weakness. So you have to always be aware of what's going on around you. I'm not saying be paranoid, but certainly be aware of things that are happening around you. And this is true anywhere you go, whether it's a
Right.
shopping mall, whether you're in front of your house, or at the airport if you're traveling. Crime certainly happens at airports, where people are so wrapped up in the things they are doing, whether they're in
Right.
their cell phones or looking at the boarding passes, and they're not paying attention to people that are around them. So,
That's a great point. And another thing that I've thought about recently, especially women, we have the worst habit of when we get in our car, checking our phone. And we're sitting there in their car. Sometimes we turn it on, and we're sitting there reading our phone. And those are the kind of things that we really probably are not very smart.
And I was going to bring up just a pet peeve of mine is the fact that not only people getting in their cars messing with their phone, usually they're already on it by the time they get in their car. So if you're walking down the street on your phone and you're oblivious to anything around you, that's not good.
Right.
So people need to be more aware, and that just goes with understanding your surroundings and being aware of what's going on around you, because if you're on your phone, just like we all see every day when somebody's driving a car and they're on their phone, they look like they're just oblivious to anything
Right.
around them. Same
Unfortunately.
thing when you're walking around, when you're walking to your car, when you go to your car in the morning. You have to be aware of those things. So if people just think a little more and realize, hey, I can wait to get on the phone.
Right. It's
let
so
me pay
hard,
attention
though.
to what I'm doing.
You've been in a meeting and you finally get in your car and you just want to, check a
It
couple.
is. But those are just little things you can do
Right.
so you don't become a victim.
No, those are great tips. Thank you for that. So now, this is kind of leads into my next question: was how can we avoid drawing attention to ourselves? One of the things we shouldn't do is be on our phone, because that does draw attention to yourself. But are there other things that we can do to avoid having people notice us?
Sure. One of the thing is if you go shopping, and especially if you're paying with cash money, try not to pull a whole bunch of money out at one time, where people say that you have hundreds of dollars in your hands.
Right.
That's a great attractor. People
Yeah.
will, when they see that, they open their eyes. So just pull out enough money just to pay for the items that you have. Try to conceal it. Don't try to have it wide open where everyone sees it. So I recommend using credit cards, because you don't have the money there in your hands where people can see it. But either way, try to be discreet when you pull the money out, so other people behind you, or if you're using a debit card, try to cover the number when you're putting in the numbers into the machine. Other things that you have to think about is don't try to use flashy jewelry that is exposed.
Oh,
So
yeah.
people, will look for people who have a lot of jewelry. It all depends where you go. If you go to an activity where you can wear those things, fine. But you see sometimes people that have exposed jewelry and nice watches, that kind of thing.
So go. You were going to say something.
I would just add one of the things that I deal with the most in investigations is just simple things of not locking your car door,
Yeah.
leaving your purse out in the open in your car, leaving your wallet, leaving your computer, leaving all your nice little electronics in your unlocked car. Whether it's at night at your home, whether you go to drop off your kid at the daycare and, oh, nothing's going to happen to my purse, I'll leave it right here.
Or leaving it
It
running when
does
you're in the
happen.
7-Eleven.
Leaving your car running.
That's correct.
Your car is going to get stolen. Your purse is going to get stolen. And it's not just property. Property can be replaced, like we said, but you're talking about credit cards. You're talking about your identity. Identity theft is huge these days. The credit card uses, checks in your wallet. Those are things.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
be aware of where your purse is, where your wallet is.
So that's what you're seeing in your department. You see a lot of that.
Every city across the United States is seeing it, because it's so easy now with all the technology. People leave their cars unlocked at night. So whoever's going out committing these crimes, they know this is happening.
Yeah.
So
I
they
heard
just go.
one time, but I heard one time that sometimes criminals will just go door to door. They'll just go
House to house,
drive
yeah.
house to house, and then try a car key until they find one
Because
that's
it's
open.
easy.
Yeah.
It's low risk. It's easy. You're not making a lot of noise.
How often
and
is
of
that
all-
recoverable?
It just depends. I can't say.
Yeah.
You never know. But
Well, are you finding I mean, do they catch these people? I mean, does it turn out to be one or two people, or is it just random people doing that
it's
at all
all
times?
types of people. We've caught juveniles committing these crimes. We've caught 40-year-olds committing these crimes. So it all has to do with a need. You know, the kids sometimes are doing it just for a kick, you know, for maybe they can make some extra money. Maybe some older folks are doing it because they're addicted to something, you know, whatever the case may be. But there's no specific person or persons that are committing these crimes. It's all kinds of folks.
We've seen a lot in Virginia. I live in Virginia Beach, and we've seen a lot of mailbox. They just, you know, knock down mailboxes. Is that something that you see in Chesapeake, or is that a?
Every once in a while,
Yeah,
you get
That's
we
that.
see
not
that
a
once in
that's
a
not a
while.
problem.
Yes.
Maybe it's just my neighborhood.
It's one of those things. Yeah, every once in a while you'll get the kids. Usually those are kids.
Yeah.
You just go through the neighborhood one night because you're bored.
Oh
and,
yeah. So yeah.
You'll see that
that's-
every once in a while.
But the real problems are the ones that are normally working together in a sort of organized crime. They're actually planning to do something.
And they're communicating with each
They
other.
can communicate with each other. Stores, you go a specific store. When a lady has let's say, for example, her purse on her shopping cart,
Yeah.
someone could be distracting the lady while someone else is actually taking her purse.
Wow.
That has happened. So they have to be aware when they have their purses, you know, not to
Yeah.
get their eyes off the purses.
That's really helpful, because you're right. Again, that goes back to being aware of your
Being aware.
surroundings. Yeah. And we're also distracted and in a hurry that it is hard to focus on the task at hand. So we're going to take a break in just a minute, and when we come back, I really want to talk about the Neighborhood Watch programs, and specifically the Next Door program that you have started here in this area, which I'm very excited to see. And so we're going to talk about that, but before we go to break, I want to, if you don't mind, one of y'all could give us the website, because your website, your police website has a lot of helpful information, I'm sure, and also links to other helpful phone numbers and so forth. So could you tell
Sure. It's the city website for the City of Chesapeake is www.cityofchesapeake.net. And if you go on there, it has all the information you need. It has the police website attached to it, so you can go on there and find things about our neighborhood watch, about suspicious activity, all kinds of stuff. So.
Okay, great.
There's also some crime tips there that we put on the website and on the crime prevention section of the website.
Yeah, that's going to be really helpful, because it's something that you can print out.
They certainly could print it out, yes.
So, okay, good. All right, well, we are coming back, and we'll hope you'll stay with us. This is Joy in Our Town, and I'm here with Detective Beveridge and Officer Franceschi, and we will talk about neighborhood watch programs when we return. And welcome back to Joy in Our Town. I'm Ann Farrell Tata, your host, and I'm here having a wonderful conversation with Officer Franceschi and Detective Beveridge, and we're talking about safety tips and how to protect ourselves and our children. And now we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the neighborhood watch programs and how they've changed in recent years. And Officer Franceschi, can you talk a little bit about what's going on now with neighborhood watch programs?
Certainly. The Neighborhood Watch program is also known as block security. It'll depend on where you live in the United States. Many cities in the Hampton Roads have it. Chesapeake is not the exception. Our program is designed mainly for the neighbors in each neighborhood to get to know each other, to be able to report suspicious activity, and also it brings in the neighbors that didn't know each other in the past. They bring them together, so they'll know what's going on in the neighborhood better than they used to. In Chesapeake, we do have some requirements for them to be part of the neighborhood watch, and once they complete all the requirements, then they'll get a sign saying this neighborhood belongs to was part of a neighborhood watch.
Is that ordained by the city? Like they'll get is it a plaque or something that comes from the city of Chesapeake?
Yes, that's correct.
It's like a street sign,
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
like a speed limit sign or something like that.
So so one of the new programs is this Next Door.
Yes, Detective Veras, he can expand on the Nextdoor program, which is an excellent program for the neighbors to communicate with each other.
Nextdoor.com, it's a company based out in California. It's its own private company. I learned about it from some of our neighborhood watch groups a couple years ago, and they brought it to my attention, and since then we've just tried to get the information out about the site. And it kind of coincides with Neighborhood Watch because the whole site, Nextdoor.com, is based on communicating. And it's about neighbors communicating with neighbors. And it's not just a criminal thing, it's not just a police thing, but it's a neighborhood thing. And you use it however you want to use it. The nice thing about the site, it's a social networking site. It's private. You have to get verified that you live in that neighborhood. So the only people that can get onto that Nextdoor site are the folks that live in your neighborhood. And it's got a lot of neat features. It's got a map. It shows you basically all the parcels that are in your neighborhood. You can click on each parcel, see, you know, what the neighbor is, what their name is, and the information that you put on there, the personal information, is all about how much or how little you want to put on there. You can put just your first name and last name and leave it at that, or you can go to town with it, put all your dogs and cats and sisters and brothers and who else you want to put on there. So it's all about communication, and that's the nice thing about it.
So when you first heard about it, was the appeal for you more the crime aspect, and then you realized it had a lot more to offer than that?
Yeah, it started for us, obviously the police department. The criminal aspect came in where we can get information out to citizens and let them know if there's a crime trend, let them know, you know, what type of things are going around in the city criminal-wise. But you can use it for anything you want. One of the things I want to make clear is Nextdoor.com is for neighborhoods. It's a neighborhood site. Any neighborhood in any city around the country can join Nextdoor.com. It's not a Chesapeake thing. It's not a Hampton Roads thing. But one of the things they do at Nextdoor is they can create a city site. So the city of Chesapeake decided to create a city site, so we have a Chesapeake Nextdoor site. And what I can do with that site is communicate with each neighborhood that has a Nextdoor neighborhood site.
So when you were talking about the criminals you've seen earlier, so you can post some of that information, like watch out for, we've had a higher incidence of you know, car robberies in this neighborhood. Will you be able to communicate that?
Absolutely. Right now,
that's really nice.
We have about 180 or so neighborhoods in Chesapeake that have their own Nextdoor sites. So at any time, we can post something to 180 neighborhoods. We can post it to a certain group of neighborhoods that's having an issue. If, you know, 5 or 6 neighborhoods in an area is having an issue with burglaries, we can post specifically to those neighborhoods, or we can post something to the whole area.
So, and you were going to show us an app. That it also has a phone app.
It does have a phone app, Nextdoor.com. I know it's for the iPhone right now. I don't know. I think the Android app is out as well right now. But it's another, pretty much everything has an app, so of course eventually they were going to have one. And it just makes it easier to get the information right on your smartphone.
So, and then so that's something like if you're at work, you can go and check to see what's going on at your house or what's going on in the neighborhood. Absolutely.
You can get alerts by email. You can have the app on your phone.
So you can get alerts too.
Alerts, yes.
There's just no end to this.
You can get, there's actually, you can set up how much email alerts you get. If you want a daily alert where it shows everything that's happened that day, instant alerts where anytime anybody posts anything or comments on something, it'll tell you. Or, you know, even you don't even have to have alerts. So the only way you know what's going on is if you go to the site itself. So it's not something that's going to bog your phone down if you don't want it to, or bog your email down if you don't want it to. So that's a nice thing. But there is a specific alert. So if there's something major, maybe a child's lost or somebody's missing, something like that, you can set it up to get a text message. So if something really serious happens in your neighborhood, it'll send a text right to your phone.
That is fantastic.
In fact, one of the members of the Neighborhood Watch told me yesterday, in fact, that she used the Nextdoor website to report a suspicious activity of a person coming to the houses, and she put the alert out, and instantly other neighbors picked up on it, and the guy was down the street, and they called the police, and
Wow.
the police actually ended up arresting the individual.
That is fantastic. So people really are, they're on this site a lot. And have you found that you've had, I know you said 180 neighborhoods so far, and is that, how long have you had it here in Chesapeake?
About a year and a half, I would say.
So, and is that
I think we're
number
doing pretty
growing?
good.
And you're,
Oh, yeah,
you're
it's
promoting this in different venues as well, right?
Well, it's promoting itself. When we first heard about it, we did a lot of civic league groups and neighborhood watch groups, and just to get the message out, hey, this site is out there. But it's promoting itself now. I mean, people use it, they like it, they tell their friends, they tell their family, and more people are just joining the site and getting their neighborhoods on board with it.
So, and this is a nationwide program out of California, and I've read that they have over 22,000 neighborhoods so
Probably.
far. And in this area, you're not sure about the, it's offered, I guess, in Virginia, obviously in Virginia Beach, so that's where I signed up. But as far as you know, Chesapeake is the one that has the city website attached to it.
The city of Chesapeake does have a nextdoor.com site. I don't know if any other cities, I think they're probably looking into them, but city of Chesapeake definitely has a city
They
site.
should have that.
Yeah. It's a great resource. We can do the special alerts as well. So if we did have a missing child or something like that, we've got 180 neighborhoods that if we needed to send that information out instantly, that's over 4,000 people that are getting that message, hopefully, and spreading the word. Hey, there's a lost child, there's a missing child. So it works for our benefit as well. But we also use it for not just crime things, but public works. We've got a lot of construction going on Dominion Boulevard. We've been sending information out about that so people know when to avoid it, when closures are going to be going and what routes to take. So
that's a great idea too. So you could check it before you go to work in the morning to find out if things are going on. Now, can the neighborhoods talk to each other?
There is a new feature on it. It's called, I think it's Nearby Neighborhood is what they call it. And the neighborhoods that have next door sites near yours, nearby, you can communicate with those. You don't have to. It's an elective thing. So if you don't want to communicate with them, you don't have to. But if there's something specific,
That's
like
not
maybe
very neighborly.
Right. If there was a lost dog and you think it might have gone into another neighborhood, if they've got a next door site, when you do your post on your site, you can include that neighborhood in your post, so they will see it as well.
That
So
is
that's
fantastic.
a neat feature too.
So is this, do you foresee this taking over the neighborhood watch programs, or will this just be an adjunct?
It's just another tool that we're using for the Neighborhood Watch program.
Correct.
It's not directly connected to Neighborhood Watch. It's its own program that is just used for communication. Obviously, because of the form of communication, we tie it in with Neighborhood Watch. So if somebody wants to get a Neighborhood Watch, if they've got a next door site, it's going to be easy for them to get a Neighborhood Watch program going in their neighborhood. So it's not specifically tied to Neighborhood Watch. It's its own communication thing. That's the biggest thing. It's about communicating.
Well, that is fantastic, and I'm actually so excited to be signed up now. I feel safer already, and I really appreciate both of y'all coming out here today and telling us about this. And Officer Franceschi, you have some great tips for us, and I really appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
And once again, if you'll just give your website for people that want more information about any of the things we've talked about today.
It's www.cityofchesapeake.net.
All right, thank you so much, and I really appreciate y'all's time today. And again, I want to tell our viewers to please check us out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/TBNVA. You'll be able to see this program and other Joy in Our Town programs as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and made possible by your telethon dollars. Your continual support can keep Joy in Our Town brought to your home every day. So write Joy in Our Town, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.